Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'm going to be bringing you another house tutorial. This time, I'm going to be showing you how to make Squidwards' house from SpongeBob. And I just want to throw this out there before the tutorial begins. In this video, I do not show you how to make the interior for the house, because I didn't design one. I just could not force myself to do it. I really do apologise. For those of you that have watched any of my house tutorials before, you know my exact feelings on the topic. I couldn't do it, I couldn't force myself to do it. I really do apologise. If that makes you not want to make the house, then I fully understand. But for those of you that do, let's get cracking. Alright, so if you want to make it, here's what you're going to need. You're going to need oak wood planks, cyan wool, light grey, either glass block or glass pane, it really doesn't matter, choose your favourite. And finally, you're going to need some wooden doors, and they're the only materials that you're going to need for the actual structure of Squidward's house. So once you've got those, and once you've figured out where you want to make it, I'm going to be making it right here. You're going to want to start out with a row of 8 cyan wool in a row on the floor. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like so. What you then want to do is come over to the right side of the row of 8 cyan wool, take a bird's eye view like this, and from the end block here, you're going to want to do 3 upright diagonals, so 1, 2, 3. What you then want to do is take a sideways on view like this, and from the third diagonal, you're going to want to extend it to the right by 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. To give you something which should look like that. And I feel as though I should tell you this. We're working towards the circular base structure of Squidward's house, so we're essentially working towards a giant circle, so bear that in mind with this next part. So what you then want to do is come over to the right side of the row of 9 that you've, well, technically it's a row of 10, you had 1, added 9, row of 10, but the 9th block that you should have just added, again, bird's eye view, and you're going to want to do 3 upright diagonals, so 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to want to extend this third diagonal, taking this view again, to the right by 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What you then want to do from this 7th block going right is bird's eye view again, do 3 upright diagonals. So 1, 2, 3. What you then want to do, again, taking this view again, kind of like a sideways on view, is extend this third diagonal to the right by 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What you then want to do is just bridge the gap between this 9th block here and where we started with 2 upright diagonals. So 1 and 2. And let me just give you a nice bird's eye view of what we've just made. So this row that I'm closest to now, hovering over, this is where we started. So you're going to want to have a shape which should look like that. And just for a frame of reference, the rows at the top and the bottom here, aka this is the front of the house, that's the back of the house, those should be rows of 8 in total. And the sides, so the side here and this side, they should be slightly longer and they should be 10 in total. So it's important that you get these right because the rest of the house kind of depends on this. It's not something that you can kind of just take loosely. So make sure that you've got that right. Pause that if necessary if you need to check. Once you've done that, here's what you want to do. What we have here, you basically want to raise up by 7 rows. And I mean that quite literally. You want to go all along the top of it, and you want to make it so that we have 8 solid rows of this base layer. So you just want to do exactly what I'm doing now, a total of 7 times. And I'm not actually going to show me doing this because it'll be a little tedious. So I'm going to cut this out, I'm going to add on the extra layers, and I'm going to be back once I'm done. Alright, so this is what it should look like once you've added on your 7 layers of cyan wool. And just to reiterate that, you wanted to add 7 layers of cyan wool on top of your base layer to give you a total of 8 rows of cyan. And you may want to pause this video here if you're still working on that, but if not, here's what you want to do next. So first of all, you're going to want to come to the long sides of your house, so these rows of 10 that we have here. And what you want to do is you want to add a row of 8 on top of the top row of your rows of 10. So essentially just knock 1 block off of each end and just throw on a row of 8, like so. And you're going to want to do the same thing on both sides. So just throw a row of 8 on the left and the right hand side to give you something which should look like that. what you then want to do is this. You want to... Well, you know what? I can't even really explain it, but it should be fairly obvious what I want you to do just by watching me. So this is what you want to do. The best way that I could explain it is you just kind of want to... The next portion of the house wants to be one block higher and one block inwards in relation to the bottom portion of the house that we've just made. So essentially you just want to make an ever so slightly smaller circle, or I suppose what we have is an oval, an ever so slightly smaller oval inside of yet higher than the oval that we've just made. It should be fairly obvious what I want you to do looking from this bird's eye view here. So that's what you want to do, and of course the long sides just stay the same, although they are slightly shorter. However, they do stay in the same position. So once you have done that, and I hope that you guys understand, I can't really explain, although maybe I did. I suppose that kind of does explain what I wanted you to do, but even more so, you should be able to figure that out quite easily. But what you want to do after you've made that shape is, just like before, you're going to want to add 7 more layers on top. So literally, just as you did before, just go all the way around and throw 7 layers of cyan wool on top of it. So again, I'm not going to be showing you the process of me doing it. I'm going to cut it out and I'll be back once I've added now 6 more layers on top of that. So I'll be back in a sec. Alright, so this is what it should look like once you've added on your 7 layers of cyan onto the second portion of the house. And just to reiterate that again, 7 layers on top of that first layer there to give you, again, 8 rows of cyan. So you may want to pause this if you're still working on that, but if not, here's what you want to do for the next portion. And the next portion is actually really easy. You know that really hard bit that I had trouble explaining on the previous portion? Well, you want to do that all the way around this time. So just pick a random part and you just... And again, the best way that I can explain this is the next portion of the house wants to be 1 block higher and 1 block inwards in relation to the previous portion. And I'm just gonna do it, and you guys will probably more than likely know what I'm getting at, and you shouldn't have too much trouble, I would imagine. So just to go all the way around, oops, and connect it all together, and you should have something which looks a little bit like that. It gets smaller and smaller. So that's the sort of shape that you want to have. Again, the best way that I describe it, 1 block higher, 1 block inward. So you don't want to have something that is getting closer to actually a circular shape. And what you want to do with that, and what we've been doing all along, once you have made this shape, you're going to want to stack 7 more layers of cyan on top of it. So exactly like you should have done 2 times previous, you're just going to want to go all the way over it, 7 times in total with your cyan. So again, I'm not going to be showing this, so once I've added what is now 6 more layers of cyan on top of this, I'm going to be back. So back in a sec. So I realise at this point I might start sounding like a broken record, but here it is. This is what it wants to look like once you've added on your 7 layers of cyan wool. And just to reiterate that, you wanted to have added on 7 layers of cyan wool on top of the original base layer to give you in total 8 layers of cyan wool. And once you've done that, I would give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back, because that is the third and final section which makes up the outside shape of the house. So once you have done that, and pause this if necessary if you're still working on that, it's time to move on to the roof. And the roof is actually extremely easy. However, it's kind of, I can't really explain it, but it's very simple to see what I'm doing kind of deals. So here's what you want to do. The roof wants to be 1 block higher and 1 block inwards in relation to the top section of the house. And I suppose you've kind of already done this twice already, so it shouldn't really be too foreign to you. And you just want to, if you're doing it the way that I'm doing it, just go all the way around the outside of the top and then just fill in this shape that you should have made. And there's a cow in there. How did that get in there? I guess he's been in there since the very beginning. Alright, fair enough, he is now Squidward. So, once you've made that shape, just fill in this middle section of it. I'm not going to bother cutting this out, I'll keep it in here, it shouldn't take too long. And He must have genuinely been in there since the very beginning. I didn't notice that I was building around the cow. Anyway, this is what the top of the roof should look like once it's all completed. It's just completely flat. There is nothing much to it. So, once you have done that, and let me just show you what the whole outside of the building should look like. Look at that. Isn't it magnificent? We've not got that much to do, to be honest with you. So this is what it should look like once you've built up all of the sides and thrown the roof on top. All we've got to do now is add on the brow, ears, nose, eyes and mouth. And that kind of sounds weird considering the fact that I'm describing a house, but that's what we're doing. So that's what we're going to be doing next. We're going to be doing the brow first of all. So pause this if necessary if you're still working on the roof. But if not, here's what you want to do. You want to come to the top of the second section at the front of the house. And of course you have two options of the front of the house. I already have the front marked out with a bed, but considering the fact that this is symmetrical, this side or the back side could be the front. However, this is the front of my house. Whichever is the front of your house, you want to do this. On the top row of the second section, starting from this right here, so not the side of the house, but one block inwards, this one here, you want to do this. And again, this is kind of hard to explain. You want to do this. Just like that. So you want to have just extended the first row forward coming towards you. And of course that includes the long row on the front of the house. So you want to have that. And then what you want to do with this long row here is just add on another row like so. I realise that rhymes. Call me Eminem. So that's what you want to have. That should be fairly straightforward. So pause that if necessary. Do that. Once you've done that, you're going to want to do this. So you pretty much just want to add on another layer of cyan on top of what you've just made, just to reinforce the brow. So just to give you something which should look, I suppose I'll show you the top view of it, which should look a little something like that. And furthermore, that might be a helpful view for you to pause it if you're having a hard time understanding the concept, so you may want to pause that there if you're still working on it. But furthermore, this is what it should look like once you've done it. And that might look like it comes a bit far out, but once the nose and the eyes are in there, it looks pretty good. So pause this if necessary if you're still working on the brow. If not, here's what we're doing next. We're doing the ears, and the ears are extremely easy for you to do. So the ears are also located on the second section of the house, and as you might imagine, they are on the sides of the house. Where else would the ears be? So the ears span from the whole bottom to the whole top of the section, and they sit on the two middle rows of it. So you just want to do this. You just want to pretty much just make a rectangle like so. And then you just want to add on another layer onto that rectangle to give you something which should look a little bit, to give you a bit of a side view, which should look like that. And just to give you a front view, it should look like that. And you want to do the same thing on the other side as well. So pause that if necessary. Once you've done that, just go and do the same thing on the other side. So just entirely up the second section, bottom to top. The two middle blocks, just raise them out twice to give you a nice little 3D rectangle like so, and just to give you a whole front view, you're going to want to have something which should look a little bit like that. And the sun is actually coming down, so once it's light again, I'm going to be coming back with the nose, eyes and mouth. Now that we have daylight again, I can show you how to do the nose. So the nose sits on the middle section on the front of the statue. So come over to the middle section on the front. And the nose starts off very similar to how the ears start off on the sides of the statue. So you're going to want to raise up these two middle blocks from the bottom to the top. So just do that. What you then want to do is, starting from the bottom, on the sides of the two rows that you've just extended out, you're just going to want to go up by 3 on the sides. So you're just going to want to have something which should look like that. What you then want to do is come down onto the section below it, and you're going to want to extend out from the top, these 4 middle blocks and the 4 middle blocks underneath it. So you're going to want to have something which should look like that. What you then want to do, come back up to the middle section, you're going to want to extend out the 2 middle blocks again, and you're going to want to start from the bottom here, and you're going to want to go up and leave 2 blocks away from the top. So you're going to want to do this. What you then want to do to finish this all off is you're just going to want to, from the bottom of the nose here, these 2 middle blocks, is you're just going to want to do 2 rows of 3 starting from the bottom just going up. So you're just going to want to do that, and I'm not sure if I explained that well, but hopefully you guys should be able to figure that out. That's kind of another hard thing to explain as well, but it should be fairly easy. So that is what the nose wants to look like, just to give you a front view. And let me give you a side view if that helps you any. So that is also a side view of the nose. Pause that if necessary. So once you've done the nose, all we have to do now is do the eyes and the mouth. So just to do the eyes, and the eyes are very simple, you're going to want to do this. So I'm not even going to try and explain this, I'm just going to knock out the necessary blocks. Kind of giving Squidward the... Well, I suppose they're kind of like clown eyes, like the pluses over the eyes. Dead eyes are kind of like the crosses, but you just want to do 2 crosses in those positions, and then you just want to do light grey here. And then your choice of glass in the middle, and of course that's either glass pane or glass block. I prefer the pane, but it's up to you. So that's what you want, and as a matter of fact I'll give you a closer view. So that's what you want to do for the eyes. I wish that I could have made the eyes 3D and made them look good, like he's got those circular boat windows for eyes, but you know, there's only so much you can do in Minecraft. I mean, if this was significantly bigger, I probably could have managed it, but unfortunately, with it being a manageable size, I couldn't do anything with them. So those are the eyes. Pause that if necessary. Once you've done that, all we have to do is the mouth. So you're going to want to come to this bottom section that we have here, and we've got some knocking out to do. So you're going to want to knock out the 4 middle blocks starting from the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And then you're going to want to knock out 2 rows of 4 just above those 4 middle blocks to give you a nice little rectangle shape like that. And then what you want to do is just knock out these 2 middle blocks above the third, the cow's coming to say hello, above the 3rd row of 4 that you knocked out, to give you a shape which should look a little bit like that. And then what you want to do for the mouth is you just want to, with your oak wood planks, you want to build this shape 1 block inwards, so like actually inside the house. And again, this is, I'm not going to explain this, but it should be fairly simple once you see it, what I want you to do. So that's what you want to do with your oak wood planks. And once you've done that, all you have to do is add on 2 wooden doors, and you have an enterable, functioning Squidward house. Alright, so once you've reached this point right here, I think it's time to give yourself a bit of a pat on the back, because at this point, the house is 100% completo. There is nothing more to do on the outside. It is done, finished, finado. I don't know if that's a word for finished, but it is now. You're done. Which kind of leads us onto a sour topic that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. The interior. Here's the deal. I don't like interiors. I don't like making them. I don't care about them. I'd rather be doing anything else other than making an interior. Whilst I'd be wasting my time on the interior, I could have designed another house. That's my viewpoint on it. I don't particularly care what's inside a house, I only care about the outside. I don't know whether that makes me superficial, but if that does, I'll deal with it. I'm even less motivated to do the interior on this house because I won't be able to replicate Squidward's actual house into this one, just because of the size of it. Or at least, I won't be able to replicate it to a standard that I'd ever be happy with, so I'm going to take the higher ground, or possibly lower ground, and just not do it whatsoever. It's not my deal. So, I apologise but no interior. It's not going to happen. I would suggest doing whatever you want with it if you're as superficial as I am. The book probably stops here for you as well, and well, that's just how it's got to go. However, there is something that I would suggest doing to the outside, and I'm actually going to skip over back to the original house to show you what you could do to improve the outside that won't really take too much time. So, back in a sec. So this is what I decided to do with the outside of the house. It's a very bare bones effort, although I feel as though it does make a fair amount of difference. It's very simple to do, barely takes any time. All you have to do is dig out an area around the house, fill it with sand, and in this case, make a little path that looks roughly like that one that leads to the entrance of the house. And if you were to Google image Squidwards house, you'd have something which looked relatively like this. Of course, the houses are a little closer together and there's sand in between them and there's a road and such, but focusing in on Squidwards house, it looks pretty much like this one right here. And I think that it just makes it look a little better. I think it improves it a little bit. It doesn't look right with it resting under grass. I think sand is a much better fit for obvious reasons. So, if you're like me, you only really do truly care about the outside and to a certain extent what's around the outside as well, you'll do something a little bit like this. Maybe you've got better ideas, maybe not. I'm just throwing things at you. Maybe it's something you'd like to do. I think it helps a little bit. So, with all of that being said, I don't want to dwell on that too long. That is the tutorial. It is completely over. I have nothing more to show you. We are 100% completo. I love saying that. I don't know why. I hope it was easy enough to follow. I'm not sure when you'll be seeing another house. The next idea is SpongeBob's house. You may be able to see it on the left there, although I have some adjustments to make with that, so we'll see how that goes. We'll see if I get on that or not. Well, I will be getting on it. It depends when, though. Anyway, I hope it was easy enough to follow. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you understand about the interior. I can't do it. I feel strongly about this. Thanks for watching, and see ya. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, maybe you should think about subscribing. I have plenty more stuff like this on my channel. I have tutorials ranging from YouTube statues, skin statues, houses, pixel art, the list goes on. Thanks for watching.